Who would have thought that the most popular guy in school, the prom king, the heartthrob who only cared about parties and himself, would become the most unlikely and most beloved babysitter in television history? Look, if you'd told me back in Stranger Things Season 1 that Steve Harrington would become one of the most beloved characters on the show, I would have laughed in your face. The guy was everything we learned to hate in 80s movies. Handsome, popular, arrogant, dating the good girl while treating everyone else like they were beneath him. He was the walking cliché of the American high school playboy. And then life happened. The upside down happened. And Steve Harrington discovered that being popular means nothing when you're surrounded by monsters trying to devour you. But let's rewind a bit, because Steve's transformation didn't happen overnight. It was built brick by brick, trauma by trauma, beating by beating, literally. In Season 1, Steve was Nancy's boyfriend. That's it. He existed to be that romantic obstacle, the guy the protagonist dates before realizing the true love is Jonathan, the sensitive and misunderstood artist. Steve was disposable. We were just waiting for him to do something horrible so Nancy would dump him for good. And he did horrible things. He wrote that awful phrase at the movie theater calling Nancy, he was jealous, insecure, petty, everything you'd expect from a teen comedy's mini-villain. But then came that scene that changed everything. Steve could have left. He'd fought with Nancy, he'd seen things he didn't understand, he had every reason to disappear and pretend none of it was his problem. But when he saw that Nancy and Jonathan were in real danger, he came back with a baseball bat full of nails. And he got beaten badly by the Demogorgon, but he didn't run. In that moment, something changed. Not just in Steve, but in how we saw him. Beneath that arrogant playboy facade, there was someone who chose to do the right thing even when running away was easier. But the real Steve, the Steve we love, was only born in Season 2. And he was born in a way nobody expected. Dustin Henderson. Think about the irony of that. The coolest guy in school becoming best friends with a 13-year-old nerd with self-esteem issues. It makes no sense at all, and that's exactly why it works so well. Steve finds Dustin in the middle of a crisis. The kid is desperate, trying to deal with a creature from the upside down that he thought was a pet. And Steve, instead of ignoring him or making fun of him, just helps. No ulterior motives, not expecting anything in return. And it's there, walking along the train tracks with a bucket of rotten meat to lure an interdimensional monster, that we see who Steve Harrington really is. He gives Dustin hair advice, talks about Farrah Fawcett's spray, teaches the kid to have confidence, listens to him talk about the girl he likes, treats him as an equal, not as an annoying little brat. And when danger arrives, Steve doesn't hesitate. He puts himself between the kids and the Demodogs. He hits, gets hit, bleeds, but doesn't move from in front of them. That baseball bat became an extension of his arm, became a symbol. Steve Harrington, the former prom king, became the official babysitter of a bunch of monster-hunting nerds. And the most beautiful part of all this? He doesn't complain. He doesn't act like he's doing them a favor. He genuinely cares about those kids. Dustin, Lucas, Mike, Max, 11. He protects all of them like they were younger siblings. In Season 3, this becomes even more evident. Steve is working at the Scoops Ahoy ice cream shop, wearing that ridiculous sailor uniform, and he couldn't care less about his image. The guy who used to be terrified of looking anything less than perfect now wears a sailor hat and serves ice cream with a smile. And when Robin enters his life, we see another layer of the new Steve. He falls for her, opens his heart, and when she reveals she's a lesbian, he doesn't get angry, doesn't feel selfishly rejected. He accepts it. He becomes her best friend. He evolves again. This is what makes Steve's journey so special. He never stops growing. Each season brings a more mature Steve, more generous, more willing to get hurt for others. In Season 4, when Vecna starts attacking, Steve is the first to jump into the upside down to save Nancy. He's attacked by demonic bats, has his body torn apart, and keeps fighting. Not for glory, not to impress anyone, because that's who he is now. And there's that scene with Nancy in the Upside Down, where he talks about the future, about the kids he wants to have, about the life he dreams of. And you realize Steve Harrington, the guy who only thought about parties and popularity, now dreams of being a father, of having a family, of taking care of people. The Playboy became a protector. Steve's transformation works because it's not forced. Nobody sat him down and said, "You need to change." He changed because life forced him to face who he really was. And when you strip away the layers of arrogance, of insecurity, of need for approval, what's left is a genuinely good guy who just needed a chance to show it. That's why his relationship with the kids resonates so much. Steve found purpose in being a protector. He discovered that taking care of others filled a void that popularity could never fill. Those annoying nerds became the family he chose. And Dustin looks up to Steve like an older brother. That secret handshake they created is one of the purest moments in the entire series. Two completely different worlds that shouldn't mix, united by genuine loyalty. Stranger Things has terrifying monsters, supernatural mysteries, and 80s nostalgia in every frame. But the heart of the series, what keeps us coming back season after season, is the characters. And no character evolution is more satisfying than Steve's. He started as the guy we loved to hate, became the guy we desperately root for to survive. Because Steve Harrington isn't just a character who got better. He's proof that people can change, that the arrogant guy from high school can become someone genuinely good, that it's never too late to discover who you really are. The prom king abdicated the throne, and instead of the crown, he picked up a baseball bat full of nails and the responsibility of protecting a bunch of kids from interdimensional horrors. And honestly, he's never looked more like a king than now. But tell me something, do we also have a Steve Harrington hidden inside us, just waiting for the right moment to come out?